Thank you so much for visiting my channel, Days of Danny. I am back to give a review, recap on Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 15. This is the last episode of the season before the decision day. So, we finally made it. They dragged it on and dragged it on, but we're finally here. But yeah, they basically, I'm gonna go right on into it. They started out kind of all leaving the retreat still. They were still at the house, some of them. And we see Mika and Michael leaving the retreat. Mika's kind of like, I don't really want to get in the car with this dude. Michael, he has nothing to say to anybody and just kind of grabs his stuff and heads on out. Mika, Taylor, and Jessica and Austin kind of have this, little powwow like, good luck, we're going to get through it. Kind of like, and Taylor says to Austin, oh, he's one of us. He's like, no, don't put me in that. Do not put me in that. But yeah, so they get in the car. It looks like Mika and Michael, once they leave the retreat, they stop off at an apple orchard to pick some apples. And Mika's trying to make small talk and, trying to, I guess, extend the olive branch or at least try to make it normal while they're picking apples. And Michael is just not here for it. He is just like, he doesn't say a word. He ignores her. He kind of said, or, just kind of doesn't give her any type of response. And Mika, of course, notices that and just is just over it, like, okay. But doesn't say anything, surprisingly. I guess she doesn't want to show herself at this apple orchard. After they finish picking apples, they go and there's a picnic set up for them. And they're given little bag lunches. And it was just noticeable that Michael kind of looked at which one he wanted and did not even offer or consider asking Mika, what do you prefer? Or, these are the two options or anything. He kind of said, chicken, turkey, I want this one. And starts commencing to eat his pudding. Like he was just, oh, happy day with his pudding. And Mika, just kind of says, you didn't even try. You just, and he just says, well, I don't know. I don't even know what difference does it make? Is basically what his reaction was. Like, I don't know. I got me a bag. And, I don't know. I think that does say a lot. Definitely you. But then again, Michael was still upset probably from the night before, from getting, bashed about where he was or where his whereabouts was or why did he even have to leave and things like that. And then he was also upset about, her not reacting or giving any type of care to his situation about his family and his, death in his family, which, that definitely, I'm sure, was weighing heavily on his mind also. So, definitely don't want to, belittle that situation, but, I mean, we all have to make decisions even around death, and, there's still life going on, and you still have to be a decent person. So regardless, everybody has their reasons of why they're doing things. Once they leave the orchard, they get in a car and Mika kind of goes, off a little bit, just like, I don't understand why you're acting this way. You don't even try. I thought you were going to do, try in this relationship, but you're still, not being honest, and you're you're ignoring me, and I mean, is it that you just don't even, you know, want to try? And Michael just kind of, you know, as he does with his little lips, and just kind of doesn't really have much to say. Later on, we see them back at the house, and they you know, kind of have a more calmer talk. Mika expresses her feelings and, you know, says she feels she doesn't understand, you know, going through this. She understands that you're going through the situation with your family, with his family, and you know, I don't want to make that anything small. And that's what he said in the car. He was just like, you know, I have a whole family member that passed away, and you just don't seem to care. You just don't have any feelings towards that. And I mean, I even, you know, you would think your wife would have your back on that. And she says, I do, but given our circumstances and how things are going, you know, it's just hard to give all of that feeling to you. Michael says, you know, you didn't have any compassion for the situation, and you were just dry. And he said he needed her at that time. And Mika says, well, you're right, and I will take responsibility. I could have taken a different route or handled it better. And they seem to come to a half a resolution at that point. Not resolution, but just kind of a standstill on that situation. And, you know, they moved on from there. Later on, we see Michael meet up with his sister. And she tells him, you know, about what Mika had said to her about him not being honest. And, you know, she said, you know, what's going on with that? And Michael, who gives, he just says, well, you know, he gives the same little speech. Well, I'm not comfortable. She doesn't make me feel comfortable. I didn't to open up with her. So sometimes I just don't give her the whole truth. I just give her some of it. And, you know, his sister says, you know, well, I understand that, you know, that might be something that you've done in the past. And she even says you've done it in the past, and I knew this was going to come up. She said, but that's not how you handle a relationship. You know, she says, she tells him exactly what we all are thinking and what she should have said in the beginning. You know, the sister just lays it down. You need to stop lying, basically. Regardless of if you're not comfortable, this is your wife, and she may not even be comfortable with everything, but y'all both have to open up because you chose to get married. So Michael says, you know how he does, and and that was pretty much it with his sister and his visit with her. Mika goes and sees her mother, and, you know, just lets her know she's wondering, you know, why, you know, he's always just lying and doesn't want to tell the truth, and I don't know what to do, and I'm just over it. She just, and the mom, you know, just says, you know, yeah, you gotta, I don't even think she said anything. I can't remember if she said anything or not, to be honest with you. But Mika just going off, because, you know, Mika always has a lot to say. So they meet up later on, him and Mika and Michael at dinner. And the first thing Mika says is, so I've been noticing you're coming home or you're home more and you're not, at work like you usually are, and your hours have changed? Is there something going on that, that's been different with your schedule? And he says, well, I've given my 2 weeks notice. And she was like, I saw. She looked over to the side. I swear she was going to say, Montre. I thought she was going to get up and leave, but she took it in stride. She said, she listened to him, and he says, they didn't come through with the promises that they were saying that the job was going to be, and they, didn't give me any choice. They were not fulfilling, their part, so I had to give my 2 weeks. So Mika said, okay, I understand that. I understand that if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they didn't, come through with what they said that they were going to come through with, I understand wanting to leave the job. But don't you think that you could have communicated that with me? She said, I I mean, as your wife, you would think that you would have talked that talked to me about that before you do it, or even during or at all. She said, I don't even think you would have come to me unless I asked you. And I do believe he probably would have waited to the last minute. I mean, of course, a lot of things are going on. And since there was so much drama, it seems like that would just be the camel that the straw that broke the camel's back. But Mika listens and to him, and she acts like, okay, well, that's all I've been wanting to hear. But she said that before. That's all I've been wanting to hear. Girl, we all playing games. You, him, Brandon, Taylor. I'm gonna get that check. Okay, okay, but whatever. Um, so later on, and the last thing we see with Mika and Michael, they go ahead and they're getting in the bed, and they're getting in the same bed. Um, and Michael says, what grade do you give yourself for this experiment? Or and well, first he says, okay, well, this is the last day we'll see each other, or this is the last night we'll sleep with each other. Mika was like, you mean before decision day? And he says, yeah, that's what I meant, before decision day. Yeah, okay, bruh. um, so they gave each other a grade. Mika says she gives herself a B. She says she knows she didn't do everything right, but she definitely tried to she tried in the marriage and tried to, the best she could. And Michael gives himself a C plus. Um, and basically Mika says it's only got better, and basically they said goodnight to each other. But he says, I definitely made some wrong decisions, and I could have done better this way. And girl, boy, just say you lied. You lied. I lied, and I shouldn't have lied, and that's, but you shouldn't have got no C. You should have got a D, in my opinion. Might could have got an F, but the reasons you don't get an F is because you did try, or at least you acted like you tried, but you was lying when you was doing it. I don't know. Anyway, that was Mika and Michael. The next couple I'll talk about is Derek and Katie. Derek and Katie, after they leave the retreat, um, they go to a vineyard, and they're sitting, and on the way there, I believe it was on the way there actually, they see a turtle. And Katie's like all excited, like, oh, I gotta pick up the turtle, I want to make sure that it's okay. And so they go and pick the turtle up, and they just think that this was just the greatest thing ever. And they I guess they consult with whoever they consult with to see if it's okay to keep the turtle, and was told that no, that's not a great idea. The turtle should be in its own habitat. So they named the turtle Cow, like after Pastor Cow, and they set it free in the lake. So that was, their cute little experiment or experience. They go to the vineyard, and they're given at the door, they're given this like big lock, has their names on it. And it's like a symbolic gesture where they would, I guess, say, basically what their relationship will consist of, or what they will hold on to, and lock it into this lock, and then throw away the key. And so they go ahead and they have the lock. They kind of go back and forth as to what they should say for this lock. And he says, well, I think we should always say we always should be a team. And she's like, I don't think so. That's just not even feasible. That's just, I'm like, what? Aren't you married to this man? Like, she is so confusing. He's like, well, what do you mean? I think we should always be a team. And she's like, well, I can't promise that. We can't promise that. I'm like, wow. I mean, Derek, if Derek don't see the light, I don't understand. I mean, Derek is, and Katie is, I'm sorry. Come on. I mean, she thinks she is just the catch of the year, and she may be, but she also is not giving him any props as to what he is doing. But yeah, they go back and forth, and her suggestion was to say, we will always let one another be happy regardless of if we're together or apart. I mean, she's like trying to play hard to get, or trying to say, you may have me or you may not, type of situation. And I think she just wants him to step up. And he probably does act somewhat immature, but I mean, come on. Derek, later on, we see Derek, he meets up with his dad, and they're talking, and kind of lets his dad and his sister, and he confirms that I'm really gonna stick it out. I'm probably gonna say yes on decision day. And the only thing that he really brings up that there's an issue with is personality clash, and she's kind of brass with her, the way she brings things. And his dad kind of gave him some good advice. He said, well, don't go into a relationship thinking that you can change anybody. If you think that these are the feelings basically that you have now, then don't think that this is going to change because you're going to continue with the marriage. And Derek's like, okay, but shoot, at this point, he already married, so he might as well see what he can do if he wants to. It's not like they're engaged, and you can say that. They're already married. So it is what it is. So I thought that was really good advice, but just anyway, just to let him know, listen, you want to get out of this now because you think that she's not going to change and this is not something that you can deal with, you better get out of this now. um, so Katie meets up with her dad and stepmom, and she lets them know how things are going. And dad's like, how's it been going? And Katie says, he's just not mature. He's just not stepping up. I just can't. And dad's like, oh my goodness, I thought we were gonna hear that it was just great. And he seems like a really good guy. Dad even goes as far as to say, this is one of the best guys you brought ever to us. And she's like, well, he's a good guy all around. Don't get me wrong, but he just doesn't know how to love me. He doesn't know how to. He's just so immature, and he doesn't do anything. I do everything. I do everything. I do everything. Girl, that man set up romantic dates. He talks to you with respect most of the time. So for that one time. But even still, she pushes him and he still keeps his calm. He keeps his cool. We may not see what's going on behind the scenes or after the cameras are not rolling, so maybe that's what she's talking about. But I just feel like she doesn't give him any recognition at all, even a little bit. She's just like, he's just an immature boy. She called him a boy. I was like, wow. She said, I thought I was gonna, when I was gonna be matched. She even mentioned, she said, I thought I was gonna get somebody like 30, like, with a couple gray hairs. And I was like, she just thinks 30 is just old. Okay, girl. But yeah, so yeah, she didn't really give him too much. Later on, we see them come together, and they are talking about, reflecting on the relationship. And she says, I just want you to give me a little bit more, back and forth. Looks like my lights went out, y'all. They have been working on the lights around here, and the lights went out again. Anyway, so she was like, if I'm being a bitch, then tell me I'm being a bitch. Come back with me. Come at me. At least that'll give me some you know some I don't know. I can't even think of the word. Let me know that you're in it, that you're paying attention. So I guess he's probably just kind of being passive and letting her have her way, and probably not. She's not feeling like that is that's realistic. Basically, she wants him to show himself, which I kind of understand, but they basically in the night, cool, and that was it with them. So that was Katie and Derek. I'll talk about Taylor and Brandon. We see Taylor, she's talking to her friends at dinner, and Taylor is just letting them know what has been going on. And Taylor's friends are like, what the heck is going on? Why are you even considering staying with this man or even talking about this man? We should be like deuces. But she's like, well, he's not, the same when the cameras are rolling as he is when the cameras are not there. And she says that he no longer wants to film, that his beef is really with production and not her. They're trying to pin them against each other, and he's just not with that. And so Taylor's like, okay. And but the friends are just not trying to hear it. Like, girl, I don't know what your problem is or why you think that this is going to change. And even the one friend, when we see her talking by herself, that she says, I just don't even understand why she's even considered it. I'll be heartbroken if she says yes on decision day. And then we see, since they can't get together because he won't film, we don't really see too much of them this episode. But then they do show us a clip. I don't know if they showed it during it was like a little clip for next episode. But they show them like with this security camera, real dark image of them kind of like wrestling and being all cutesy and look like they were getting it on or about to get it on or something. So something must be happening behind the scenes. I guess so. But yeah, that was Taylor and Brandon. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess we'll see next week on decision day if he shows up, because apparently he doesn't like production. So is he going to show up? And so that was Taylor and Brandon. The last couple that we have that is still here is Jessica and Austin. Jessica and Austin meet up. Austin meets up with his friend, and they're talking about how what their feelings are, and if he's going to stay, if he's going to go ahead and stay with her. And the friend, asks, the friend said, Austin says, she did tell me she loved me, but I wasn't ready to say it. I want to say it in my own time. And the friend says, well, why didn't you say it? Or do you not love her or whatever? And he says, no, it's not that. I think I do have those feelings. I just want to say it in my own time. So I think Austin just wants to have his moment. He doesn't want to say, oh, I love you too. And that's what he keeps saying. He keeps saying, I don't want to say it when you say it. I don't want to. I want to do it when I want to do it. And she is just not trying to hear it. And she says, I guess that's what his thing is. She can't just have her way everything. I think that Jessica thinks she's supposed to. And this isn't, I don't think, about having her way, honestly. It's more so like, I need to know your feelings. I need to know your feelings. He says he was heartbroken at one time before this, and it was soon after he had said the words, I love you, and he doesn't want to have that happen to him again. So Jessica meets up with her twin sister, Jennifer, and, they talk, and, she's really seems happy and couldn't imagine her life without him. She says she's only concerned about the fact that he doesn't, say that he loves her. And the whole travel thing for work. She says, I can probably deal with it, but, it just was, she was just stunned by it and really didn't, think that was going to be so much travel. But, they'll get through it. Later on, we see them talking, and the whole travel thing comes up again. Jessica and they're going to bed, and they pretty much have a disagreement right before bed. And Jessica says it's the first time we ever went to bed mad, and she's like, I don't. And he's like, well, I'm tired of talking about it, and I don't understand why you don't like my job. And she's like, I never said I didn't like your job. I just didn't like the fact that you'll be traveling. And that's it. And he's like, well, I think you're saying it's the same thing. You're saying you don't like my job, and that's my job, and I have to do my job. I was like, if this don't sound made up, like, come on. Don't get me wrong. I understand as a woman, you want your man home, for the most part, and maybe a little travel, but it seems like there's a lot. It's a lot of travel. That's going to be, 3 days out of the week, every week, that's kind of a lot. So, that's hard to accept from anybody, woman or man or whatever. So I don't know why he feels like she should not be upset or just be concerned about it. So, um, but yeah, that was pretty much Jessica and Austin. They didn't end very well, but I just don't think that that's going to be a make or break situation. That's something that they can get through. Um, but that was the last episode before Decision Day. So next week is Decision Day. I cannot wait to see what happens. I especially can't wait because I'm over this season because it was like the worst season. Um, I've watched, I don't want to say all of them. I thought I watched all of them, but I'm gonna have to go back and see if I missed any. But yeah, definitely can't wait till next week for the last Decision Day and then the reunion. So until then, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment, and thank you so much for joining me.